Hi, this is Suretech Water Treatment Technical Support with a video walking you through your new 3M water filter systems in your A&W location. We will take the time to familiarize ourselves with each system and then conduct a water filter change. This video consists of 5 modules. Please take the time to pause or rewind the video as necessary to properly understand each step. So if we're ready, let's begin. In order to avoid a potential delay to service, it is best practice to change water filters during off hours or non-peak times. This is the standard layout for a DP290 system. Your exact system's fittings and layout may vary slightly. To begin, we will identify our booster pump and tank. These will need to be shut down in order to drain the pressure from the system. We will accomplish this by unplugging the booster pump, either at the adapter on top or via the main plug. We will then shut the booster tank by revolving the gate valve shut. With the booster pump system isolated, we will return to our system and begin tracing the incoming water line from the pre-filter. We will identify the first available shutoff and turn it shut. This will isolate the system from incoming water during the filter change process. With our system isolated from water pressure, we can begin our filter change. Use a small bucket or container to catch any residual water that remains within the system. We will first change our pre-filter. Press the red pressure relief button on top of the bowl to relieve any remaining pressure and ensure the water is shut off. If water persists to spout from the pressure relief button, you have not isolated the system from the water supply. With the pressure out of our pre-filter, we can begin to remove it with our pre-filter removal tool. The bowl will remove counterclockwise. After removing the bowl, we will discard the old filter and rinse the bowl well. Prior to reinstalling our bowl, we will check the integrity of our O-ring. If stretched, damaged, or missing, replace the O-ring prior to reassembly. We will remove the packaging from our new pre-filter and insert it into the bowl, aligning the bottom of the filter with the peg in the bottom of the bowl. We can then reinstall our bowl by threading it on with clockwise turns. Natural instinct is to tighten as far as possible, but this may cause a leak. Best practice is to tighten the bowl all the way and then back off the bowl about a quarter turn. We can now change our DP290 water filters. We will open up the activation valve to relieve any remaining pressure within the system. We can see the gauge drop to 0, indicating no water within the system. With the pressure removed from the DP290 system, we can begin removing the cartridges. Press the yellow filter latch lock and the filter will remove with a counterclockwise quarter turn. The filter will remove downwards. Repeat with the other cartridge. We will remove our HF8-S scale inhibitor cartridge by unthreading it from the head. We can now install our new filters beginning with the HF8-S. Be cautious while installing. The plastic threads can become misaligned and damaged if installed in the stainless steel head incorrectly. For further assistance troubleshooting your HF8-S, click the link above. We can then install our new HF90 water filters. We will align the nubs on the filter with the corresponding grooves on the head. The filter will lock into position with a quarter turn clockwise. Again, we will align the nubs on the filter with the corresponding grooves in the head. Slight upwards pressure and a quarter turn clockwise will allow the filter to lock into position. With our new filters installed, we can begin the activation process. Return to your incoming water shutoff and open the handle. Water will begin filling the pre-filter, flowing down through our DP290 system and out through our open activation valve. At this point, we will plug back in the booster pump and reopen the booster tank. Allow the water to run and activate the filters for a minimum of 5 minutes. Following the activation process, we can shut our activation valve and allow the pressure to build within the system. We will clean and dry the area, inspecting for any leaks that may have occurred on our pre-filter or DP290 system. We can then apply a label signifying the date of filter change and next due date for the filters. Our DP290 system is now back in service with new filters. Hi, this is Suretech Water Treatment Technical Support with a video on the proper procedure for changing the filters in your 3M SGLP2-BL reverse osmosis system. To begin, we will follow our blended product line out from the back left port of the system and shut the outlet to the applicable equipment. We will then shut the small internal tank on the reverse osmosis by turning the shutoff valve on top of the system. We will find the shutoff to the large external tank either by following the line up from the tank or down from the second port on the right side of the system. Here we followed the line up from the external tank. Be careful when identifying the tank shutoff. Here we have a shutoff leading to a drain port, but this will not shut off the tank from the entire system. We will continue to follow the line and find the shutoff that isolates the tank from the system. Once identified, we will shut this for the remainder of the filter change process. We will then look to identify our flush port. We will follow the same line as our blended product, the back left port of the system. Following the line, we will identify the first available shutoff port that is accessible. We will attach a flush line and run it to the drain. Alternatively, you can run the water from the port into buckets. We will open the port now, allowing water to run through the line to the drain. Alternatively, if using buckets, wait until shutting off the water in the next step before you open the flush port. The reverse osmosis is fed from what is known as a water distribution manifold. We can follow the line from our POP system up to the water distribution manifold feeding the reverse osmosis system. We will turn and shut this handle, isolating the reverse osmosis system from the incoming water source. The gauge on top of the system dropping to 0 indicates we have properly removed the water pressure from within the system. If due, we will begin with our membrane cartridges. These can be removed from the system with a counterclockwise quarter turn and light downwards pressure. The membranes are attached to the reverse osmosis via reject lines. These can be removed by depressing the collet at the base of the line and light pressure on the line. Again, we will depress the collet, holding the line, and using light pressure, pull the line out of the old membrane cartridge. Our new membranes will install in the reverse order. First, we will insert the reject lines into the membrane collets. Slight inwards pressure will lock the line in position. A tug on the line will confirm it has been properly seated in the collet. The membrane will then install upwards, aligning the grooves with the gaps in the membrane head followed by a quarter turn clockwise. With our new membranes installed, we will apply water to the system to begin the flush process of our membranes. We will return to the water distribution manifold and open our port to the reverse osmosis. This will allow water to flow to the system, through our membranes, and out through our open flush line. We will allow the membranes to flush for a minimum of 10 minutes. Following our membrane installation, we can again stop the water to our system via the water distribution manifold. Once again, prior to removing the filter, we can confirm the absence of water pressure in the system by the gauge on the top of the system reading 0. We can then remove our polishing filter by turning the filter cartridge a quarter turn counterclockwise. The filter will remove downwards. There are multiple options for replacement polishing filters. Sizing largely depends on your particular store's local water quality and volume of usage. Our new filter cartridge will install by aligning the nubs on the filter with the corresponding grooves in the head. Slight upwards pressure and a clockwise quarter turn will lock the filter in position. We can then return to our water distribution manifold and once again open our reverse osmosis port, applying water to the system. We will allow the water to enter our reverse osmosis, flush through our filter, and out to the drain via our flush line. Allow the water to run and flush the cartridge for a minimum of 5 minutes. Following the activation process, we can return to our flush line and shut the port. We will return to and open the small internal tank by opening the valve on top of the system. We will return to our external tank shutoff we had previously closed and reopen it. And finally, we will return to and open our outlet to our equipment. Our reverse osmosis system is now in operation with new filters and membranes. We will clean and dry the area and inspect for any potential leaks on the system. The most common issue encountered is small leaks from the reject line fitting of the membranes. Carefully inspect to ensure there's no leaking water on the system. We can then apply labels signifying the date of filter change and the next due date for the filters.
Located on the top left of the system is a pressure gauge for reading the current outgoing water pressure level. In front of the pressure gauge is a small knurled steel handle. This is the blend adjustment knob. Sitting on top of the system in the middle is the permeate pump, the heartbeat of the reverse osmosis system. The tank attached to the system is referred to as the system's internal tank. It is a pressurized tank of reverse osmosis water. Located on top of the tank is a blue handle. This is the internal tank shutoff handle. To accompany the internal tank, we have the external storage tank, which is pressurized reverse osmosis water as well. The appearance, size, and color of the external storage tank can be different depending on location and date of installation. Located independent of the main system is the carbon pre-filter. It can be either an HF90, HF60, or HF35 filter cartridge. Located beneath the pressure gauge on the left of the system is the cyst post filter, most often an HF20 or HF35 filter cartridge. And on the opposite side of the internal storage tank, we will find the twin membrane filter cartridges. And now to examine the inlet and outlet lines of the system. On the left side of the system we have two outlet ports. The back outlet port is the coffee espresso outlet. And the one in front is the flash steamer outlet. On the right side of the system we have three ports. The bottom is the reject water outlet. The middle port is the RO water outlet to the external storage tank. And the top port is the inlet port from the carbon pre-filter. These are the components that make up your SGLP2-BL reverse osmosis water system.
The reverse osmosis is fed from what is known as a water distribution manifold. We can follow the line from our POP system up to the water distribution manifold feeding the reverse osmosis system. We will turn and shut this handle, isolating the reverse osmosis system from the incoming water source.
We will shut the outgoing water lines being fed by the reverse osmosis system. We will then identify the port for draining the tank. This will be attached to the external tank outlet line. For further information regarding identifying lines or components of your reverse osmosis system, please refer to our video on the identification of components on an SGLP2-BL reverse osmosis system. We will attach a 3/8 inch inside diameter line to the on-off handle. We will make sure the line is securely fed into a drain or sink. We can now return to the handle we attached the line to and slowly open the port. The stored water in the tanks will begin to flow through the line and out into the drain or sink. This process can take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, depending on the volume of the combined tanks. The drain line will significantly diminish in pressure when the tanks are empty.
We can then return to our water distribution manifold and once again open our reverse osmosis port, applying water to the system.
We can now shut our drain port and reopen the outgoing water lines to our equipment. Our tanks are now drained and filling with reverse osmosis water. It is essential for the tanks to be open for the reverse osmosis system to function correctly. If encountering an issue with your reverse osmosis system, double checking that both tanks are open is a good first place to start.
It is best to perform filter changes, drain tanks, or take the readings during off hours or non-peak times to avoid a potential disruption to service. To begin, we will turn off the outgoing water outlets to the equipment being fed by the reverse osmosis system. We will then shut both the internal tank by turning the small blue handle on top of the tank, as well as the external tank by following the line up to the first available shutoff point. We will then attach a 3/8 inch inside diameter line to the test port on the flash steamer outlet line. For further information on identifying components and lines on your 3M SGLP2-BL reverse osmosis system, please refer to our previous videos on the SGLP2-BL. With our tanks closed and line attached, we can open the port and begin to run water into a drain or sink. We can begin to test the water from the flash steamer outlet with our handheld TDS monitor. From the flash steamer outlet, we should see around a 90 to 95% reduction rate in total dissolved solids. For example, a location with incoming water TDS of 120 ppm should optimally see a reading of 5 to 10 ppm from their flash steamer outlet port. Allow the water to run and test multiple times to achieve an accurate reading. We can then test our blended water parts per million via the external tank outlet line. We will attach the 3/8 inch inside diameter line and open the port. We will run the water into a drain or sink. And as previously, we will take multiple readings while allowing the water to run. The optimal reading for the blend water is 40 to 60 parts per million. This is commonly recommended as the optimal water for the best tasting coffee. If the blend reading is too high or low, it can be adjusted via the knurled steel blend adjustment knob. Be sure that the blend requires adjustment prior to changes to the handle's position. After taking our readings, we can reopen both the internal storage tank as well as the external storage tank and reopen our outlets to the equipment being fed by the reverse osmosis system. It is best to make note of the readings for future reference. This has been Suretech Water Treatment technical support for Suretech Water Treatment Incorporated. We are a fully approved filter supplier in the food service industry, and we're here to help. For sales, service, or assistance with your water system, please contact our team today at 1-877-635-7410 or via our website at www.suretechwater.ca.